that most casters, except for at the highest level like Nathanius, we aren't GMs, so we're unfortunately it's the shitty thing about that is we're never going to have as good a natural insight into the game as they do. It just isn't going to happen. But maybe we can communicate it better. Talk about communicating. Let's communicate these intros here in the top right-hand corner of Catherine Square. They are llamas and kittens, and our protest player is puCK. And his Terran teammate is Ruff. Ruff and puCK. It's a rough puCK, ladies and gentlemen.
Rough around the edges, but always pretty good. And in the bottom left, we have, I don't know if it's the blue team. We have, let me change my team colors right there. There, finally, the purple Terran player, Powerfoe, and his ally, the green Zerg, DeShawn. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. See where things go in this little game here. Droning up for DeShawn, so no 6 pull, 10 pull, anything like that. Nothing crazy just yet. And a wall going up for both teams. So puCK throwing down his gateway as well as Ruff's eventual barracks. He went gas first, so likely see a Reaper coming out of there to get a decent scout off. And the barracks is just now getting thrown down. I was looking at the barracks getting produced by the other team. And similar build, except barracks first for Powerfoe into his gas, and we have not reached that supply yet, where we've seen a spawning pool down, but a second hatchery going down for DeShawn as Powerfoe's SCV makes his way across the map to see what he can see. And he's not going to be able to get any scout here, maybe annoy the SCV a little, but as I was saying with this map, and as you've mentioned, Tyrannus, it does have 2 pocket bases. So if you are aggressive on this map against your opponent, as long as they wall off, they just hold the wall, they take their 2 natural bases, and now all of a sudden it's a 4-base enemy versus you. So both players, or both teams, without saying it, they just both agree, you know what, we're gonna start out a little bit macro-orientated. And we can see that especially from a Zerg player, DeShawn, which is normally you're worried about the Zerg players, what they're going to do in the early game in 2v2s, but he himself is just saying, you know what, I'm going to go gas hatch pool and move out from there. Ruff, though, I'm curious to see what's coming out of Ruff the most, just because he is known for such kind of wonky things.
Yeah, Ruff going factory. Nothing too sinister just yet, nothing proxied. But I would like to see Widow Mines. Widow Mine drops are always good. As much as you can get Widow Mines in and amongst the mineral lines of your opponent, the more the merrier. And for Ruff, what he would be looking to do is he's going to go ahead and transfer that factory onto the reactor that he's built. Nothing here just yet, so he's going to have to pull SCVs to deal with his harassing Reaper. Harassing Reaper going to get a good scout, and Hellions are the choice. So we might see a similar build to what we saw between the earlier non-Koreans versus Axiom Pro streamers, which is we saw Phoenix Hellion in the early stages of the game. DeShawn going for +1 attacks, missile attacks for his Zerg upgrade. Not even making any Zerglings or anything like that, going straight into +1 missile attacks. A bit weird, and we don't see that often in 1v1 for obvious reasons.
Yeah, normally Zerg players playing in 2v2 really don't even do that anyways. They don't go Roach, they don't go Hydra. They really seem to prefer laying early aggression. That's why you play the Zerg, but maybe not the case. Yeah, I feel like for Ruff and puCK, they're going into a much more, at least kind of normal 2v2 and much more, I think, effective composition, purely because right now you can see the dance between the Hellions and the Marines, and Powerfoe is not adding on. There's no factory for him. There's nothing. He's going a quick natural into 3 racks pressure. At least I think that's what he's going to go for. And I feel like for Ruff and puCK, they don't necessarily counter this build, but we're seeing the Twilight Council for puCK. Not sure yet from puCK, but at least Ruff himself is going to have a very easy time pushing back for the early game, the Marines out of Powerfoe. And still, DeShawn, he hasn't chosen his tech path. Actually, there's the Roach Warren. So I guess it will be Roaches, which both players or both teams kind of inadvertently or maybe on purposely countering each other just unit-wise. Roaches to the Hellions, and then Hellions, I guess, to the Marines. So I feel like it's going to be up to puCK. What's his decision?
Yeah, he's got Blink Stalkers. That's his call. And thanks for setting me up on that. That was pretty nifty. What's his call? Oh, very obviously Blink Stalkers is going to be the call. +1 attacks as well on the way for him. And once he gets his gateway numbers up as well as his economy going, we'll see something move it on the map. Otherwise, why would you go for Blink Stalkers this early on in the game? It's not super early. It's a little later actually compared to a timing, but it's early in the sense that it's not like a late game upgrade that you would just get on its own. puCK gonna go ahead and throw his Mothership Core into the mix here, try and pick up a couple of SCV kills, and he will get one. He's got 3 to his name, so he's got a couple beforehand. He's got to be careful of these Marines here. He's gonna get one more. He might have to recall, but he's actually just gonna go ahead and dance off the side of the cliff. He might target down this final SCV. He does, so 5 kills to his name, getting good money, and also saving his energy in case he needs to recall, photon overcharge, time warp, any of the like. Back at home for puCK and Ruff, they're just going to keep on doing what they've been doing so far. Vikings is an interesting call coming out of Ruff. I like the dynamic of 2v2. What it allows you to do is to skip out on certain types of units, and we don't have the heavy, hard-hitting units that make up the brunt of the mech force just yet of Ruff, so it's going to be interesting to see if he just stays on Hellions, or if they're going to move out and see if they can make something push with this incredibly mobile Hellion Blink Stalker army.
Yeah, it's a very, very mobile army, and as you were mentioning a little bit earlier, maybe puCK not going into Blink for the aggression, but just a utility. Blink Stalkers are so good, and he is good with it. One thing also to point out that I think is an interesting nuance with 2v2, just as you were saying, puCK is always the head of the meta. As you saw the Mothership Core move in, maybe not the meta right now, but he's the one that kind of was like, wait, what if I went for some kills with my Mothership Core? Well, why not try it out? But puCK with his theory crafting, with how good he plays, then Ruff's just kind of playing really weirdly. We're going to see some really interesting compositions. We'll see how it pays off, though. Blinks are starting to go down. puCK's trying to get some kills, but there's just too much actual force here for DeShawn and Powerfoe pushing through. Marauder Roach, that is a huge, heavy, just hitting army. Hits you hard, and there's the teleport home. Ruff, though, he's got these 2 Vikings, which I'd like to see Ruff push out a couple siege tanks, and just because he's a full air control. Yes, there's a couple Marines, but he could easily get the full siege tank vision or full siege tank range. And that one medevac right there almost gets itself killed.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, if it was trying to bring the opposing armies back home by just faking it out. Like, I've got a drop coming your way, and lo and behold, I don't. More Stalkers on the way. In defense, of course, they're going to have to hold this, and I think they hold it pretty well, but there's just Hellions here, and the medevacs aren't healing anything unless those turn into Hellbats, and they're not doing so just yet. Stalker's able to blink back and survive for what it's worth, and most of the roaches are gone now. Stalker's blinking, and now the Hellbat form comes in. The Vikings still haven't landed. And the drop is going to come down as these Hellbats are taken up into the medevacs and then dropped right on top of this bio, getting in and absolutely disintegrating the pre-stem bio with no medevac support there. So there you have it from that attack. I don't think anything else is going to last, and the Stalker numbers are just enough to be able to shoo away these Marauders and Roaches remaining. A bit of a rallied force coming across here, and it's interesting when you see the rally lines get mixed up here, but DeShawn and his teammate are going to have to go ahead and get home. What's his name? DeShawn and
Powerfoe.
Powerfoe and DeShawn.
I'm wondering if maybe DeShawn and Powerfoe should have waited a little while for tunneling claws to kick in, maybe get some roach positioning, because that attack, yes, it forced out a couple units from Team Llamas and Kittens, that is puCK and Ruff, but it didn't actually kill anything economically wise, which is allowing Team Llamas and Kittens, which is puCK and Ruff, to take a 5th base, and they're up by about like 10-ish workers, maybe a little bit more, but overall, the economy and state of Llamas and Kittens is a lot better. Just because, Blink Stalker's great at the utility. Hellions, it's not like they did make more Hellions, but it was just waiting till Hellbats came in. Now we have this drop in the natural.
Yeah, drop go down in the natural of Ruff. Turret is going to be able to target down one of the medevacs, but it does survive. The dropped Hellbats coming in, trying to dissuade it, but the Vikings might get the final shot off on that low health medevac, but they don't. And a nice little fight between Roaches and Blink Stalkers here. If puCK controls well, which we know he does, he's going to be able to win this fight pretty handedly. Roach is trying to get around the other side for DeShawn, but I don't know if they're going to be able to make that much of a difference. But all these Stalkers are
he's actually starting to low.
A lot of them are low on shields, Jernak, as I think you were just about to say. But now it's a little impossible to fight with the bio coming in to support here, especially if they have concussive shells, and puCK is going to have to get out of there.
Yeah, puCK does have to get out of there, but I mean, you saw how good he was at whittling down the roach numbers, but now the thing at jeopardy, everything that Llamas and Kittens has been kind of going up to, or preparing for, was this extra base, was this little bit of economic lead, and he's got to make sure it does not get sniped. Both players are here to defend Ruff. I love the Hellbat
Oh god, it's great.
With that composition, and that is great. What?
Oh yeah, the Hellbat drop is great. The Blink Stalkers are fighting, and that makes so that the Marines and Marauders aren't targeting, and so there is a drop going on in Ruff's main that needs to get cleaned up here, and it has done ample amount of damage. Blink Stalkers and Siege Tanks able to siege that, but like what would take care of that. But what we were talking about is the drops with the Hellbats. If there are Stalkers already fighting, Marines aren't targeting the medevacs, so it's one extra thing you have to do. As Storm finishes researching for puCK, is you have to target down those medevacs with the Marines individually, and if those medevacs are able to get on top of your army and then start doing the area damage that they do, the AoE that they're famous for, it's going to be a rough time with Blink Stalkers behind and that. So this is one of those 2v2 strategies that really makes its name only in 2v2, obviously, but for the very reason that you can't really boost medevacs in over bio, and you can't really just go toe-to-toe with bio with Blink Stalkers, but together they kind of find their worth.
Yeah, and like you were mentioning that, gotta remember what I was gonna say right there. I had a really nice point, and I was getting ready to say,
dude, Storm!
Oh, the Storms are very good. The Blink's got to be also just as good. Siege Tanks on the right-hand side will join in. And I remember what I was going to say is that you can skip out, like you mentioned, Tyrannus, you can skip out on some units, and that's exactly what you're seeing. You can go into full Hellbat medevac production and Siege Tanks when you don't need Marines. You don't need things to help them on the ground, and that's what the Stalkers are for, because you can kind of say, you know what, as the Protest player, I'm not going to get Colossus, even though normally in 1v1, yes, Blink Stalkers are great, but you're going to have some AoE. He's got High Templars now, but he's really just relying on Ruff for that AoE earlier on, and dang, Siege Tank Hellbat, that's an AoE heavy army, but for now, I mean, puCK is the aggressor here, and it's scary fighting as good as a Blink Stalker player puCK is with his controls at any moment. As you can see on the left-hand side, I mean, they're spreading out their forces, Powerfoe and DeShawn. They know at any moment there could be a big Blink move and take out an entire base just like that.
What I really like from Ruff and puCK is that it seems like puCK is doing most of the economy. He's got 4 bases. One of them's not mining minerals, but he's definitely lending money to his Terran friend there, Ruff, so that he can start developing his army. There's going to be a slight Hellion run by, scans going down, coming down to the 3rd base of the Terran player Powerfoe from the Hell, and let's see if Ruff can get any damage done with these Hellions. But on the other side of things, we had the upgrade for Infestors go down. What's that old upgrade called?
Pathogen Glands.
Yeah, Pathogen Glands was the call. So we're going to see some Infestors on the way, hopefully, pretty soon from DeShawn. These Hellions are able to absolutely shred everything at this base. All these SCVs are going to die. And one Marauder coming over to try and do some damage. It is able to get one Hellion, but not enough concussive shell blast to make a stop. These Stalkers getting caught out of positions, but the Storms are great, chewing away that bio, and almost all of the bio dies, but they're all certainly on their last leg of health. And with the mech army of Ruff a little out of position, those Stalkers, I think, took a little more damage than they wanted to.
By the way, just to mention, those Stalkers are at 2-2 right now, and the mech of Ruff does have +1 attack. And we see how it does. Roaches try to get there, but the Hellbats, they come and save the day against these Siege Tanks and just decimate. The entire Roach force is gone. I love that Ruff preemptively, just perfectly scanned right there. But now, Ruff got these Hellions somehow in the main base. I think he just drove around. He drove straight into the main base. Nothing there to defend the entire army of Powerfoe and DeShawn out of position. And right now, worker-wise, we see about 106 workers for Llamas and Kittens, which is puCK and Ruff, but then only about 80 workers for DeShawn and Powerfoe.
Yeah, more drone kills falling. More drones falling for Ruff, or by way of Ruff for DeShawn. And this isn't Legacy of the Void. You can't outlive this. This economy damage. This is hot. Every single worker is huge, even at this stage in the game, especially at this stage in the game when you lost a huge fight like that to lose all your roaches and then your drones. And that's the great thing about 2v2s. It allows engagements like that to happen where something else is going on in the background. Only 2 Infestors with the main army of DeShawn. So these Zealots, Charge Zealots, able to get on top of these roaches that are trying to pressure these forward pylons, and now they're finally going to sweep it up. And it's interesting because we saw Llamas and Kittens take the bases to the top left, and we saw Powerfoe and DeShawn take the bases also to the top left. So it's going to be a little bit of an economic fight here, so you can have some control over these remaining resources in the map.
I mean, there is so many resources in the bottom right, though. This is, beautiful. Fungal does go down. There's that one sentry with the force of puCK, probably for that Guardian Shield. But, like you were saying, all the fights are going to be going on right next to each other. puCK is a fantastically defended base up here in the top right where he's retreating onto a lot of cannons, but now Powerfoe and DeShawn cleaning up that base easily. now they're expanding towards each other. I wonder if it was the situation where both teams are like, they're not going to expand to the top right. I'll take a quick base. But now, a huge battle going down. Yes, there's a lot of cannons, but the entire army of Powerfoe and DeShawn is here while Ruff is not here to defend. Ruff is trying to make a counterattack, or at least come around the back of DeShawn and Powerfoe, but this base is going to die from puCK, and that is a larger part of the economy.
Yeah, but if the entire army gets caught out here by Ruff from the back, then that's going to be even bigger, I think. But Ruff a little out of position, and it's unfortunate he's got to slow the mech army. I think, unfortunately, this next base is going to go down as well. puCK having to evacuate, you know, you might want to blame a little bit of this on your teammate Ruff there. Unfortunately, these stalkers are not able to deal with the stemmed bio with this many medevacs. The boosted medevacs with the Hellbats coming in on top of the bio. This is going to be able to clean it up for good, but at what cost? And no, so DeShawn is able to pick up or not DeShawn, Powerfoe is able to pick up and get out of there, at least with the remaining bio forces. And these siege tanks are so slow, and the boost into the main with these units, and this game is going left and right and back and forth. One DT in on top of this bio, and a Colossus and Stalkers finally joining the mix, able to put a stop to this type of harassment. Only medevacs now, nothing inside of them, and they are getting picked off by these Stalkers now. And this is, they actually stopped him. He's not watching him. He might lose more than necessary. There's a couple that are really weak, and if he keeps targeting them down, there's another one down. He's going to lose every single medevac here. So that was a huge gas investment. Of course, the production time as well factored into that cost. And right now, I think just if we even it out, both teams are fairly even, especially with when you consider that now Powerfoe and DeShawn are taking bases in the bottom right of the map.
Yeah, and we're just going to see even more aggression and more constant fights happening because they are expanding towards each other. Finally, puCK, Ruff, and DeShawn and Powerfoe, they're like, wait, we'll expand to the bottom right then, as you mentioned, Tyrannus, but they're both thinking the same idea. Now, one thing to point out, puCK in the first ASL Gemini, they were knocked out very early on because they weren't quite not too passive, but they never really moved in of their opponents, which is what puCK and Ruff needs to do. I think Ruff, he just needs to take a big position in the middle of the map somewhere and just hold that position because you can't find in that bio. For now, though, Powerfoe is just going to be pushing this right-hand side, and this is getting scary. In that big burst of engagements we saw about 2-3 minutes ago, there was 30 workers killed on puCK and Ruff sides, which is llamas and kittens, so they got to be really careful, and I know puCK does not want to be taken out of this game, or taken out of this ASL Gemini like he was last time, just losing 2 games in a row to kind of silly mistakes.
Yeah, so Planetary getting healed up here by Ruff, able to keep his Planetary alive, and like you said, not trying to lose just yet. puCK and Ruff, I think, have a little bit higher of a pedigree than that. Scans going on all over the map to see army awareness, and of course where bases are being taken. And at this stage in the game, this is that late game that I was hoping we would see. You know, like I said, this map pays special. Catherine Heights plays into that sort of late game style. So we've got, you know, the mech choice for Ruff has really limited their ability to defend, but kind of evened it out with the mobile Blink Stalkers. But now, of course, puCK transitioning into the more AoE-centric Colossi and Storm as well. But just now, we're finally getting +3 missile attacks. He was, our Zerg player DeShawn was on +2 for a better part of the game, because remember, he went +1 very quickly and just didn't stop upgrading. And finally, it seems like he got Hive.
Yeah, definitely trying to even up those upgrades. And like you're saying, puCK may be realizing his army itself needs to be able to contend with the armies of DeShawn and Powerfoe. And we'll see if that happens. Right now, big storms go down. The beautiful blinding clouds do force a lot of puCK's army to retreat. But man, the siege tanks, they may be slow, but like I was saying, if they can just siege up and hold a position, neither Powerfoe nor DeShawn can push into that. Kittens and Llamas is pushing forward on this left-hand side, and they may take out this top 2 bases of DeShawn here, like DeShawn did of puCK's in the top kind of left-hand corners.
Yeah, I hear you. This is the death march, as it were. This is the final days of Berlin. The siege tank from Ruff, they're sieging up. They're doing what siege tanks do. Not a lot of units out on the map that can, you know, contest with this. And it was only a matter of time until Ruff and puCK got the army compositions that they want and got the army leverage that they want, specifically where they're attacking and when they're attacking. You know, with the counter and the pressure, all those drones are dying. But you know, with the counter and the pressure from DeShawn and Powerfoe, they're not going to be able to take out that Planetary. At this point, it's going to be really rough going for him.
Yeah, and even though the mech army is slow, it still is a worry enough for DeShawn and Powerfoe that they had to pull back from hitting that right-hand side base. And now both teams are pretty even on the income, albeit actually Team Llamas and Kittens, which is Ruff and puCK, a little bit lower. But now the armies, they're split up, but Ruff is getting into a perfect position. The Colossi are so good there, it doesn't matter if there's any Yanks, and there's the GG!
Yeah,
Puck
GG
and
called.
Ruff, Game 1.
Team Llamas and Kittens. Gonna go ahead and take it versus Powerfoe and DeShawn. Playing the bottom of Seething Jungle. Currently up 1-0 with some pretty consistent standard 2v2 play. Nothing insane out of these guys, which is not what I think you'd expect. It is representing Llamas and Kittens, your Protoss player, puCK, as well as his Terran teammate, Ruff.
Yet in reality, do we know Stalker, Siege Tank, Hellbat, Medevac is a common 2v2? Like, let's just
idea.
Throw that out there. Yeah, I don't know either.
idea.
Top right-hand corner, guys. Half of the top right-hand corner team, that is the purple Terran player, Powerfoe. And his trusty ally, the green Zerg player, DeShawn.
Yeah, no idea if that's a standard play, but I'm going to say it is because it just worked so well that if it wasn't standard before in 2v2, it's going to be standard now. One change we have from last game, DeShawn and his dear friend Powerfoe not looking to keep things up into the mid to late game. Looking to go ahead and get some action fairly quickly. Pretty early pool, pretty early gas, and the barracks is not yet getting thrown down for a purple Terran player. Now it is. So we'll see if we're going to get some extra early ling action, some lingage for you here. But a wall is going down for Ruff and puCK, so I don't think anything will come of it.
Yeah, I don't think anything will come of it either. In last game, the reason we saw it go to the mid to late game was just the map architecture, how Catherine Square is laid out. So a lot of the 2v2s are not going to be finished and kind of figured out quite as, not even quickly, but they're not going to be, it's not going to be a long period of time where you can decide, okay, let's tech transition to this or let's tech transition into that. It's just one solid thing. And that's actually one thing to just point out about last game. DeShawn and Powerfoe kept tech switching while their opponent, I mean Ruff and puCK, albeit mixed in some Colossi later on, but they never really like tech switched. They just were like, hey, we're doing this and it's going to eventually work.
It seemed like DeShawn stayed on Roaches like the whole game, though.
He went into Infestor, then he went into Viper, and then he mixed in some Hydras. Like it, yes, he did stay on Roaches, but he kept kind of mixing it up weirdly. And this is a nice wall, but Powerfoe, what's up with this supply depot?
I mean, you never know. You know, the supply depot.
Is that a mind game? Like, do you think it's your own supply depot, and so you're not going to finish off the wall, and then I can put the supply depot down and Lings get in? Like,
no,
that's
it was
mind game.
It was blocking the add-on for the barracks.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like mine was a lot better. I'm going to mind game you into thinking it's your own supply depot.
I mean, that's pretty nifty, but then all you have to do is A move, and then it gets targeted, and then you lose the supply.
Whoa, you're ruining me here, man.
We're not going to logic. Let's not use the logic. It's StarCraft.
This is StarCraft. Of course there's no logic. It's a video game.
We don't use the logic. Okay, so to actually talk about the game, though, we do have a Starport coming out, or Stargate, rather, coming out of puCK, and an early CC out of Ruff, so a little bit of a switch from them. And I think Ruff and puCK have a pretty good feeling on the pulse of the game. They know that the early lings meant they went pull first, so if they can make it into the mid-game, they can make the game about mechanics, and as always, the guys who are GM have consistently better mechanics than the guys who aren't. And not saying that DeShawn and Powerfoe aren't GM or quality or couldn't be GM, but they aren't right now. And it's it's getting that to that mid to late game where you're going to see the GM mechanics pay off.
Yeah, definitely. You do start to seeing little edges here and there earlier on and moving into late game. puCK, this time, unlike Game 1, will be going into Stargate and pushing out an early Oracle. We'll see what damage he can do on that. I watch puCK stream a lot, and it's always funny because he gets so many kills out of his Oracles, and just like one kill pulls it back, and he knows exactly what is there and if it can kill him or not. If it can kill his Oracle, he always, and that's what makes you a GM, knowing that okay, if 3 Marines are there, I win. I can take that fight.
And not only that, it's having the control to make 3 Marines look retarded. So if you go, oh well, it's anything less than 6 Marines, I can just A move. Or there's a way to take that engagement while also macroing back home, where I can maximize the efficiency of the Oracle while taking the least amount of damage. And with that sort of Oracle confidence that he has, he's actually producing a second Oracle behind it. So we're going to see more than 2 oracles on the field. You would say, oh, it's twice as good, but when it comes to oracles, it comes to a game of exponential returns. To not talking about puCK for too long, we do have Banelings. Yeah, we do have Banelings bust on the way as well as Hellions. So if they're able to break down a wall and they're able to get it, but the oracles see what they have. They smell a little bit of inclination of what's going on. Are they going to turn towards it? No, they're going towards the opponent's base here, so I don't think they know exactly what's going on. The floated barracks is going to see this massive forces, and those oracles are going to have to come home as this mothership core starts going to work on these Hellions. Photon overcharge going down. Hellions coming in to start taking out these Banelings. They are target firing them down pretty successfully, but they're targeting the pylon and a force field almost keeping them out, but those Lings are all getting fried up with the extra oracles. This is absolutely shredded. Ruff and puCK hold on. GG called. Game 2. Holding it all in, lad. That's all we need.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.